This episode begins with the abduction of Superman by the General and the group of criminals from the previous episode. Lois and Jimmy search the streets, hoping to find Superman, but still no trace. And the group of kids from earlier appear to let them know they might know his place and they want to help. Meanwhile, Superman is being held captive in the General's place. The General keeps electrifying and torturing him, then asks him about coordinates, time, and how many people like him are coming to invade the Earth. Superman is as confused as him. No answers provided. The General is now furious and demands answers. Apparently, he came across another version of Superman before, the bad one, and saw what he had done. The General takes him into some kind of a simulation to prove to him what he saw back then. Soldiers are lining up in front of their captain, and all of a sudden, something from a different universe appears and opens a gate of spaceships and robots. They immediately attack and destroy everything and everyone. The General scolds Superman for what his people have done to Earth, but Superman again, no answers. It is clear that Superman doesn't know where he came from and what happened before he came to Earth. Easy, General. On the other hand, Lois and Jimmy search the docks, but still no trace of Clark. However, Lois is blaming herself for saying terrible things to Clark before he was kidnapped. Back to the criminals being locked in again. The General and his friend talks about the whole attack incident, and what if they were wrong since Superman couldn't grasp or provide answers to what happened. But his friend disagrees that Superman is not innocent, and they should take their revenge from him for what his people caused. However, the thought of Superman being innocent triggered something in the General, but he dismisses his friend. The electric criminal girl notices that the security cameras are turned off, immediately removes the electric neckline, breaks free, and breaks others free too. Very thoughtful of you, Mrs. Criminal. The mad scientist puts on his suit, attacks the security guards, and runs to Superman just to attack him. He is desperate to get his revenge on him, and the General notices that there are no cameras working and calls for immediate backup. On the other hand, Evo, the mad scientist, keeps fighting Superman, but Superman kindly declines, claiming that he has always wanted to help and not to fight others. The General appears and orders him to stand down, but he is now too powerful, and the rest of the criminals appear, and they start attacking the General and his security guards. Clark is lying on the ground but hears Lois's voice calling for him, and immediately flies away from the hole that Evo caused. The criminals flee, and now the General's plan is ruined. Superman manages to go back to the city, and one of the kids finds him and notifies the rest. Superman is back safely at a warehouse and meets with Lois and Jimmy. However, Clark tells Lois that the answer she had always wanted is here, and that he is a weapon that was made only to destroy people of the Earth. Jimmy tries to tell him otherwise, but Clark doesn't agree with him. Lois also tries to assure him that he is a person, but they get interrupted by Evo, the bigger size now, destroying the city and causing a mess in order to look for Superman. Superman flies to Evo to fight him, but he attacks him and fights back even harder. Superman lies on the ground, defeated. Jimmy comes up with a plan to help him. They open a live to tell the people about what is happening, and to raise some kind of awareness into the people of the city to tell them more about Superman, and asks everyone to shut down their powers and electricity so that Evo can be weaker, and Evo immediately goes smaller in size. Superman fights Evo and defeats him. Clark returns to Lois and Jimmy safely, but Jimmy notices something weird inside of his bag, the file that Lois took of Superman. The General is ejected from his position, and now he doesn't have any authority on what to do with Superman, but they give him a mission, to track and finish Superman. Clark finds himself on a farm where a robot from his world is attacking Lois and Jimmy, and several spaceships invade the Earth, but apparently it was a nightmare. Superman talks to the man who sent him to Earth, and warns him that he knows why he sent him here, and that he will fight him if he comes. Clark, Lois, and Jimmy walks down the street, and apparently, Clark is hosting her and her dad for Thanksgiving, and Clark asks them for the weirdest favor, which is to help him find the General to find out where he came from and his past. Clark, Lois, and Jimmy return to the office. On the first thought, you might think that their boss was mad at them for the mess they have caused, but he promotes them to reporters, real reporters with desks too. Their boss asks Jimmy to stay while dismissing Clark and Lois to enjoy their Thanksgiving. Clark and Lois arrive at his family's place for Thanksgiving, and his mother is all welcoming and proud of Lois's achievements, and even hangs her articles on the wall. Lois tells Clark that she is okay with helping him to find the General, but she gets interrupted by a message from her father, telling her that he arrived, and she gets all freaked out. As Clark opens the door to her father, he is tense at the sight of her father, that he is the General. After they are all sat down to enjoy some appetizers, her father, the General, asks Clark if they have met before since he looks familiar. Really, Sherlock? It's just a pair of glasses. But Clark dismisses the whole thing and answers with no. Only Clark takes his mother to the kitchen to ask her and his father about what to do with an enemy, and his mother points out that he can't hate his girlfriend's father. On the other hand, Lois thanks her father for coming, and he asks her what kind of success that Clark's mother was talking about. She explains that she had her first article published, but as soon as he notices it's about Superman, he frowns. Of course, it's his enemy too. Meanwhile, her father is still on to Clark and where had seen him before and what's up with the glasses. Jimmy interrupts them, and thank God he did. Clark takes him immediately to the kitchen to tell him that her father is the General. As Jimmy was trying to tell him to tell Lois about her father, Clark notices the file of Superman, but gets stung by something to triggers that ship to come from the ground, and now the general reports what happened to his base and runs toward it to terminate the target, Superman. Lois and Jimmy run from the robots attacking them, but they get separated by accident. Jimmy notices that once the file is opened, everything from the ship gets destroyed. Lois finds her father talking to his base and figures out that he is the general and he was the one who kidnapped Superman. A giant robot interrupts them, and her father tries to defend them with his useless gun, but Superman arrives, saves them, and takes Lois to find Jimmy. The ship opens a gate, and Superman asks Lois to hand him the sphere, but Lois refuses because it only means that Superman will sacrifice himself in order to save them. Superman takes the sphere and heads to the ship to destroy it. Once he enters, he finds several robots inside and fights all of them, and a hologram of his father appears to help him. Superman manages to destroy the ship successfully, but his father notices that he might get killed during the destruction and immediately pushes him out of the way. Meanwhile, the general is aiming at Superman to kill him, but Lois protects him and refuses to step away, and the general calls a false alarm and leaves. Now they can enjoy their Thanksgiving. These two episodes were a chef's kiss. I really enjoyed these two episodes. The first episode with the general telling Superman the backstory of why he hates him so much, and how the people of the city are grateful for Superman's presence in their lives and city, but the people from Day Zero were not as pleased as the people of the city. As for the second episode, the whole plot twist behind Lois's father being the general and the man behind this mess was really interesting. The fact that her father was able to hide his tasks and own identity from his daughter all these years was a jaw-dropping moment. I wish we could see more moments between the general and his daughter, now that he knows that she is Superman's girlfriend, or a friend for now. But to be honest, I wish we could see more moments between the general and Superman, to get to know him better and to see for himself that he is not the same villain who wants to invade the Earth. This brings us to the end of today's video. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to our channel to get more videos like this one. Your support helps us grow. And tell me, what do you think of these two episodes? Do you think the spaceship that came to invade the Earth will return again? Will the general terminate Superman if he gets another chance? Let me know in the comments below. I read all of them. And if you're watching till now, thank you. I'll see you in another video soon.